I'm going to speak really quick, and I'm going to try to get through this faster than any video I've done because I want to stress the point that we overcomplicate this subject. I want to talk about how do we prepare to respond to acts of mass violence. And I say we don't, and I'll explain in a second. We are in the season of mass gatherings. Spring and summer, we have an increase in parades, sporting events, fairs, road races, marathons. We have an increase in events that create a large number of people to be in the same place. We've had a mass ramming that occurred in New Orleans. We've had mass stabbings occur in other countries. And so this is something we should be prepared for. So how do we do that? And what I'm saying is we don't. What I'm saying is we get good at our base skills because the bottom line is that's what we're going to use to get through any incident, no matter how complex. And what skills am I talking about in this case? It's 3. Trauma care, MCI, and our law enforcement partner communication, how we communicate with them. So let me start with trauma care. That's the trauma 10. We've been talking about this for a long time. We get good at trauma care. You guys go on trauma patients on a regular basis. You need to be good at trauma care. So what does that mean? It's the right care at the right time. It's speed of care, speed of transport. It's the things we talked about in the trauma 10 cert, such as controlling major hemorrhage, airway, and hypothermia protection. Get good at trauma calls. Because if you can be good at a single patient, you can be good at 10 patients. But if you're not good at one patient or you're struggling with one patient, you're going to really struggle with 30. So get good at your trauma skills, get your mindset in place, and get your skills practice, and get good at trauma care. Number 2, MCI. You're going on MCI calls on a regular basis, 3, 5, 7 patients. Get good at MCI calls. Get good at those calls because you're going to be using MedCom. You're going to be using triage, treatment, transportation. Get good at treating them on the X and getting them off the scene without using tarps. Get good at getting the red out and managing the blues. Practice your MCI calls, practice your MCI skills, talk about them, and get good at those. Because if you're good with 3 to 7, you can be good with 50. But if you can't handle 7, then you can't handle 100. So improve those skills. Number 3, and the most important one, is your relationship and communication with your law enforcement partners. Get good at communicating with them. You are already going on calls that involve violence or the potential for violence. Your shootings, your stabbings, your overdoses, your fights, your calls where people just don't like us. It's already happening, and you need to know how to protect your crew. And one of the ways is through force protection, which comes for our law enforcement partners. And that only occurs effectively if you've communicated with them to the point where you're on a first-name basis. You have to do this. Without that, it just doesn't work. You need to have already planned this and talked about it and worked on it well in advance. So how do you do this? On your TCs and your smaller calls, communicate and talk to them. On a TC next time, go up to them and say, hey, we need this. What do you need? You might freak them out when you ask them, what do you mean? What do we need? But work with them. Prove you're part of the team. Be part of the team. Force them to be the part of the team with you. Get them to come to the station for coffee. Get them to come to the station to do their reports. Start talking to them so that when you go on your medical calls and your simple medical calls and things aren't going right, you can walk up to them, and this is a skill you need to practice, and say, hey, officer, I need this to help protect my crew. In fact, what you want to get to is where you can problem solve with your officers, where you can go up to an officer and go, hey, this is what I'm seeing. These are my concerns. How do you think we can handle this together? You need to get on that type of relationship for any of this to work on your day-to-day calls. You really want to do something? Go to their briefings. Their briefings are early morning and late or early evening. I forget the exact time. Some of them are 6 to 6 and some are 7 and 7. You got to go find out. Go to their briefings. They're going to show up. You're going to show up and they're going to, what are you doing here? And you go, hey, I just want to be part of the team. I want to learn. You're going to learn a ton about your sector, and more importantly, you're going to learn about your law enforcement partners, and they're going to learn about you. Is it inconvenient? Yeah, it's inconvenient. Messes up your dinner time, messes up your morning routine. But what's more inconvenient, that or when you're on a call and it's going sideways and you don't know how to talk to your law partner for help and they don't know how to talk to you? I think that's way more inconvenient. So get out there, learn your law partners. If you do these 3 things, improve your trauma skills, improve your MCI response, and improve your relationship and your communication with law enforcement, you'll be able to handle the call no matter how big. And I know you're saying, well, yeah, I might never go on a call that complex. All 3 of those skills will be used on a regular basis to protect your crews and to provide the best care. I hear this quote all the time, and you always have to end with a quote. And I like this one, and I think it drives home the point. I am here for we, and we are here for them. I think that's pretty profound, and I think that's very critical. I am here for we, and we are here for them. So get out, keep being the great firefighters you are, train every day, get better at your job, never stop improving.